I have a lovely lady in my studio this morning, and it is Becky. Becky is with me this morning, and I'm going to let Becky actually tell us her surname. Now, good morning, Becky. Can you tell us your surname?
Good morning. My surname's Vanden Bogarde.
There. Now, I'm glad you said it because I wasn't sure that I was going to do that. Now, where does that come from?
It comes from Belgium.
From Belgium?
Yes.
Ah, right, okay. And were you born in Belgium?
No, my grandmother was Flemish, and my husband and I took her maiden name in her honour when we got married because she died shortly before the wedding.
Oh, that's a lovely thing to do. Well done. Now, we're going to be talking today about eating disorders and mental illness. Now, this has affected you, and that's why you're very, very passionate about it. It is going to be International Eating Disorders Awareness Week. Now, that's going to come up the 26th of February to the 4th of March.
Yes.
Okay. So, just tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
I am a freelance horse riding instructor, an accredited coach with the British Horse Society, and I also compete in dressage with my own horse.
So you have an active life, an outdoor life.
Yes.
You would think everything would be hunky-dory.
Yes.
You know, keep fit, feel well, but it's not always like that.
No, it's not.
Now, things changed with your eating, the way you eat, about 3 years ago, is that right?
Yes.
And what changed?
A series of, I suppose, traumatic life events, I think you'd call it. I'd always wanted to run a livery stables, and I had been lucky enough to rent a place for 5 years. It was running as a very successful business, and then I was given a month's notice by the landlord to evict because they were going to develop it for housing. So in a month flat, I lost everything. And then I had a series of deaths in the family, and then my horse went catastrophically lame, and I just don't think I ever really processed any of it. It was just one thing after another. And I began to struggle.
And so that affected it. So how did that affect your eating? What did you do?
When I first lost the yard, I was obviously very depressed. I was very upset. And I thought my appetite just took a bit of a downturn just because of that. And then I suppose...
You just didn't eat as much, or you lost your appetite?
If you imagine just being, I suppose, in grief, you know, most people, you know, either comfort eat or they go off their food. I just didn't want to eat. And I presumed that that's what it was, and so did everybody else. And then it sort of came and went for about 6 months that my appetite would come and go. I became more aware of food. I disliked the feeling of feeling full, and I was ill a few times after eating. I appreciate this might not be very easy, particularly for my family and friends to hear about, but I started to feel ill after eating, and then I started to make myself ill.
Right.
And that just continued for about 2 years. But my weight, I've always been very athletically built. My weight stayed roughly the same because I was eating well, but then obviously purging. And then one more thing happened, that my horse went lame again, and I felt like I'd got nothing left.
So you were sort of on a downward spiral.
Very much so.
So did you lose much weight in that time?
When it started to spiral out of control, so that was, I really started to restrict then, as well as the purging. So I went from, my normal weight before any of this happened was about 65 kilos. So that's about 9 3/4 stone, roughly.
And that wasn't high in the first instance, was it? Because you're quite a tall lady. How tall are you?
I'm about 5'6", 5'7".
Right, okay, so that was probably slightly on underweight anyway.
I'm on the lower end of the scale, and a lot of it was muscle. So I'm very slim.
So what did you drop down to?
I dropped down to about 48 kilos.
Do we know that in stones?
It's about 7 stone, 7, which was underweight. You are supposed to have a BMI, which is your body mass index, of somewhere between, I think, 21 and 25.
Right, that's right.
And I dropped down to 17.
Oh, wow.
I was very, very thin. And it affected me physically a lot. I became too unwell to work. I was very weak.
And you kept it secret, though?
Yeah.
So you didn't tell anybody, but people must have noticed.
They noticed when I started to lose weight rapidly.
Right. Now, were you in denial about all this?
Yeah. I was fine.
You thought you were fine.
Absolutely fine.
And you couldn't see a problem
Total
there.
control.
So what made you seek help?
When I began losing a lot of weight, people don't realise that it actually starts to affect you psychologically. So my mood became very unstable. I became very, very depressed. And my behaviour became very sort of controlling, very restrictive. I would have complete meltdowns if I couldn't have that one cracker at that one time in that particular plate, whatever. And basically, my husband came back from 2 weeks working away and was horrified. He said, I just seem to have lost a catastrophic amount of weight in a fortnight. And he encouraged me to see a GP. Another friend of mine sort of caught me, I suppose, purging, and there was a bit of an intervention, I suppose. I did go to the GP in the very end of 2016, and the GP said that my weight was normal. At the time, I weighed about 9 stone, and everything was fine. I was just very depressed.
So they didn't pick up that there was a problem there. But
No.
you weren't telling them the whole story either, I suppose.
No. And then between then, I cancelled Christmas. I refused to go anywhere. I didn't want to be involved with food and Christmas and celebrations. I was very uncomfortable in social situations. I'd lost all my self-confidence. I just wanted to hide. And then I was taken back to the doctor again by my husband, who spoke to the doctors first and said she wants to see another GP. I want her to see another GP. I'd like a second opinion. By that time, between the November and I think the February, I'd lost another stone. And so this GP was lovely. She was very understanding. She'd had previous experience of people with eating disorders, and she referred me to the West Sussex Eating Disorder Service, who were absolutely wonderful. They do a fantastic service. And my therapist and I worked hard on recovery.
And so what treatment did they actually give you, though? What can they do? I mean, if you're purging, how can they stop you doing that?
A lot of it is based around... so I went through a lot of CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy. I am also on an antidepressant that is frequently prescribed to people with anxiety disorders, and that helps with the sort of urge and the panic that happens prior to a purge. It's also used a lot in bulimia patients. So that was encouraged. I was encouraged to take that first to stabilise my mood. Basically, I was incapable of rational thought. Your brain needs 500 calories to function on a daily basis, and at my worst I was probably eating about 800, and obviously my brain literally couldn't work properly.
Okay. So it affected your whole life, I guess, your marriage,
Everything.
your working, your horses, everything.
Yeah. I had a very bad fall from my horse in the march. I shouldn't have been, according to doctors, shouldn't have been on the horse. My bones were too weak and my organs were already under a lot of pressure. And so I just wasn't strong enough to ride. I couldn't balance. I couldn't stay there.
No.
And yeah, it's very, very hard for those surrounding sufferers.
It must be. Now, you're trying to raise awareness of this, aren't you? But in the equestrian world, is this prevalent in the equestrian world then?
Mental illness, of which an eating disorder is very much in the mind. It's not, everyone thinks it's just about food and wanting to be thin, and it is much more complicated than that. The equestrian world, because you're dealing with sports people, you're dealing with people that are working often alone in hard conditions. There's a pressure to perform, financial pressures, everything that could contribute to a mental illness. And then things like racing, showing, there's a lot of pressure to be the right weight to ride the horse.
Another thing, people always associate this with women, but that's not the case, is it?
No, it's not. No, men do suffer from eating disorders as well. I think the statistic is about 11% of sufferers are male.
We never hear that, though, do we? We always think it's the women, sort of being prompted into this by all the pictures of the models and these super skinny models, and they make them a role model, and this can contribute to somebody getting into this state. And of course this is why there's a big, we want more meatier models, really, to put it.
Yes, we do, because
as role models for these young girls especially.
There's lots of things that feed into people feeling like they want to lose weight, but social pressures, peer pressures, and image is one of them. There
is a recovery rate, isn't there?
Yes.
It's just under half of people that have an eating disorder do actually fully recover. Some don't, and some remain chronically ill.
It's really, really sad, because people also think of an eating disorder as just the ones that everyone knows about, so anorexia and bulimia. But there are several different forms, several different subtypes. There's also something called EDNOS, which is eating disorder not otherwise specified. And basically, it just means that you don't fit those particular criteria. You might not have the catastrophically low weight of someone that is classed as anorexic, so i.e. below a BMI of 16, I believe. But you have a lot of the behavioural aspects. There are some things called orthorexia, that you are obsessed with healthy food and your safe foods, and you will only eat those. So, about 20% of sufferers on average go on to be chronically ill, carry on being ill, and it does kill people. It's
so sad, isn't it, when you think part of the world is starving and there's others that are forcing themselves to starve. It just I guess it's the mental illness side of it, and it's really difficult to deal with, diagnose, and all those sort of things to help those people.
Yes.
Now, so tell us, how are you going to be raising this awareness?
Well, it's good that we're doing this interview today, because it's also Time to Talk Day. And so we're talking about encouraging people to talk about mental illness. It's been in the press a lot. And during Eating Disorder Awareness Week, I will be doing, and around that week, I will be doing a lecture tour. Only mildly terrified, it's fine. Of the equestrian colleges in the UK. So I contacted them all. I've so far had 10 say yes.
Well, brilliant.
Which is fantastic. They were all really supportive, really keen. And so I'll be going as a guest speaker to talk to them about eating disorders, mental illness in general, how it is prevalent in the sports industries, and how we can help people and support our colleagues, our workmates, employees, and also as coaches, and targeting those, obviously, equestrian colleges, because my vested interest as a coach and as a rider, I think I'll be doing about 1,200 miles so far.
Will you really? Becky, you're going to do all these 1,200 miles to go and lecture to people at equine colleges, which is fantastic. What are you going to be talking to them about?
I'm going to... because the purpose is to raise awareness, first of all, I want to know what they perceive as an eating disorder or a mental illness. And then I'm going to be talking to them about why it's a problem, some statistics that we've obviously been talking about, and just things they can understand just how common it is, and to encourage them that it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to not be okay, and how they can help, how they can support one another, and how they can help raise awareness and funds for BEAT.
Now tell us about BEAT. What is BEAT?
BEAT is the UK's leading charity supporting people with eating disorders and their carers, basically, and those that care for them. And they were immensely helpful to myself, and my husband spent a lot of time on their helplines, their support lines. So you can call in, they will just listen, give you some advice about how to talk to the person. I phoned them when I've had particularly bad days and I just wanted someone to listen to me that didn't judge, didn't tell me off for slipping, and they were just so supportive, and they've been wonderful helping me get statistics and research together for this series of presentations. And I just really want to help them continue their work. They also do a lot of research and campaigning, government, and also to try and help train GPs and teachers, coaches, and it's just a really, really good cause.
They know how to talk to people that have these problems, whereas family always have their say. They always know best and just tell you what you should be doing, and it's not the answer, is it?
It's the number of times I heard, for just eat something. And I wanted to. I was starving. But just, I knew it was myself stopping myself, which I know doesn't make any sense. But it is so powerful. And
it just takes control of your mind, your body.
Everything. An external force, and you can't do anything with it. It's so difficult.
It's a terrible, terrible thing. Terrible, and like you say, for people around you, how difficult that is. You're doing all this off your own back, which is obviously going to cost you quite a lot to do. Travelling with petrol and different
time
things.
Off from teaching and things, which is my way of paying it back. But I have newly started out on going back to horses full time because it's what I really want to do. And I don't have a lot of disposable income. So really, I would just like some support just with the fuel expenses.
So if there's anybody out there listening today, and they may have suffered in the same way as you have, they may have somebody in their family, and this money is all going to go to Beat.
I have a GoFundMe account that I have asked for a target that I've worked out on the mileage. It would be amazing if I could reach that. And if I can reach more than that, then anything over that will be going to Beat. Any donations that are made during the lectures by any of the tutors or students will be going direct to Beat. Yeah, so
how can people give you money? What can they do?
If you are on Facebook, I'm still working on my website. It's a lot more complicated than riding horses technology, I think. But if you go onto Facebook and you can search for Becky VB Coach, so that's Becky BECKY, V for Vanden, B for Bergade Coach, and there is a link to my GoFundMe on there, and it says a little bit more about the lectures and some more stats and things like that.
Good. Well, if you're out there and you're listening and you want to support Becky, please do, because this is a big thing for you, isn't it, to come out and talk about your experience of this and to share it with others and to try and help others and raise money for Beat.
There's a lot of stigma around mental illness and eating disorders, and you feel like you're going to be sort of pigeonholed as that, but if we don't talk about it, then it's never going to get any better. It's never going to go away.
Becky, it's a wonderful thing that you're doing. We wish you all the best with going touring around the country and going to all the equine stables and the colleges, and they've let you in there, which is so important because probably most of those people you'll be talking to are at the age when this is going to strike home most.
Yes, it's the most prevalent time.
It is. Well, we wish you luck. We do hope you get some support from this morning, and people have listened in and they can contact you. Becky, just give that one more time where they can contact you.
If they go to my Facebook page, that's Becky VB Coach, they should be able to search for on there. It'll come up as my GoFundMe page on there.
Please support Becky. She certainly deserves it. And we're so pleased that you are, on that road to recovery. It's going to be a long time, isn't it? It doesn't just stop overnight.
It doesn't. But, I'm healthy again.
Good. That's what we want to hear. And you do look healthy too. And you're back with your horses. And I'm sure the family are delighted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Becky, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all that have supported me and got me this far.
That's good. You need the support around you at times like that.
Do.
Anyway, we are so pleased that you've got your life back on track, and you can always come back and talk to us again and let us know how it all went.
Will do.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.